Hey guys, welcome to another episode of CarpFishing.Tips. This is where we were fishing at Funfishing, and the green star, we'll find out later what that means. What an exciting episode. This week we tried a panko and jello sweet corn mix made from a loaf of white bread that we just put through a food processor. Obviously strawberry jello, you know what that is. And we put that onto a hook to try that out. Here we've got our normal pup koi with some flavored millies, blow train, and tutti frutti. Unfortunately, our panko mix didn't yield any results, but it did help keep the fish in the area. Here we're going to put some banjo, which is a banana flavored bowl dip, and we've also got a garlic float on our other hook on this mealy bomb, pup koi, and then that's devil's fork, which is garlic, and then we just smear it around to make it last a bit longer. Apparently that helps. As you can see, we've already got one rod in the water with the panko, jello, and sweet corn mix. Got to take a picture for the gram, because if it's not on Instagram, did it really happen? Apparently, that's what I'm being told. The first rod is more or less the same place as the second rod. We're putting them really near each other so that we can actually test to see if one does better than the other, or worst case scenario, it attracts the fish to the area. And then the geese kept eating all our ground bait, so we had to keep shooing them away. A good tip for that is make sure that you've got a bucket with a lid, so that you can put the lid on and stop any nefarious critters from eating it. Because what we really want is fish to be eating the ground bait, isn't it? So that's where we set up our first two rods. This is where we set up our third rod. We set up the third rod to the right of this bush. As you saw, clouds coming up on the right hand side. Quite a lot of clouds in the water, so there were clearly fish there. Here we're trying some sweet corn and I think devil's fork again. Oh no, it's sweet corn and strawberry syrup on this ground bait. We did try the other one with nothing but just the ground bait to see if that would work. No flavored mealies, just straight out of the bag sweet corn kernels on the hook bait. On this one though, we put fake corn with some sweet corn syrup on the actual fake corn and the ground bait. So pretty plain, pretty simple. We thought we put it quite close to the bank, but I'm not sure if we were maybe just a little bit too far out or if the fish didn't like our ground bait. Unfortunately, there were no fish we could interview to find out. And that's rod number 3, our trusty old telescopic. If you've been watching our videos over time, you'll know that this little telescopic rod combo that we bought, I mean, we bought the rod separately from the reel, but it cost us a whole 190 rand about a year ago, I think, or at the beginning of this year, which already feels like 3 years ago with this lockdown and all the rest of it. It's been a really lucky rod for us. It actually catches fish very often when we go to the bank. It doesn't have a hell of a lot of backbone to it, but it does the job perfectly. So you may not be able to cast 1,000 meters, but you can catch a decent sized fish around 5 kilos, maybe 6 on the rod with the line that it came with. I don't even know what line is on there, but the line hasn't failed me, touch wood, and the rod hasn't failed me either. In fact, it's landed up in the water a couple of times from fish. as you can see, I'm just baiting up a little bit around my rods with the panko mix. Because I saw clouds, I thought, well, the fish are obviously very active, so we should be trying to keep them in an area. Especially if you see clouds and that kind of thing, just throw some ground bait around, keep the fish interested, keep the fish on your swim, since they're there already. So the weather was quite overcast. It wasn't too windy, it wasn't too hot. It was basically perfect carp fishing weather. We couldn't believe it. We said to ourselves, if we don't go fishing today, we're just stupid. Then we heard a big splash, and this is what we came to find: a tricycle in the middle of the dam. Shame this poor guy had misread what gear he put his tricycle in and landed up in the water. He thought it was in reverse and it was in drive, I think, and he hit the accelerator and he went right into the dam. Fortunately, he came out unscathed except for a bit of a bruised ego. The trike was also okay, probably just needs to dry off and be wiped down, and it should be fine. It started up straight away. It seemed to be an electrical scooter. It wasn't a petrol one, so that's probably why it could just get going. And then I brought all my gear to try and fish out his flip-flop, his plastic sandal from the dam. Yeah, I've got experience in this, as I've fished out a tent from a dam, my own tent, and yeah, I'm sure there's something else I've lost in the dam at some point, but I can't remember if I managed to pull it out. But here we are, just trying to fetch the rubber sandal out of the dam. And if we thought there weren't any clouds in the dam there, this little chap's made a huge cloud in the dam. So hopefully it'll settle soon. What is interesting is that all of that commotion that happened, and about 30 minutes later, that rod that you can see on the left there, that rod went off. It wasn't even that rod, it was another rod that was very close to the bank that this gentleman put in. It went screaming off. And he actually gave me those silver hook baits that you see there. I think they're called silver gems, and they're called gems, and I think Magic Baits has them. So he was kind enough to give me a couple and said, you know, try them, put the bait right on the bank and see if you manage to catch something. So I thought, well, why not, you know? I'm not getting anything my way. As you can see from the ripples, it's right on the bank. Literally, it hit the concrete and went in. I thought it was a bit too close to the bank. I wasn't very confident about where I put that. So I put together another ground bait with the panko mix and a FX floaty, and I put that a little bit further out, maybe about 10 or 20 centimeters away from the bank, and thought, well, let's see, you know, if the first rod doesn't go off because it's too close to the bank, this one should go off since it's a little bit further from the bank. We were putting down ground bait throughout, you know, the panko mix. I kept sprinkling it around, and if you have a look now, there goes the rod. Literally about 10-15 minutes after I placed that rod, the rod went off, screaming, and we're into our first fish after a 6-week blank. Basically, since lockdown ended, we've been going fishing, and we just haven't been able to catch anything. So it's probably been a bit longer than that, maybe even 7 weeks. Been really tough going, but we managed to get into one today. The weather really helped. I don't know if the gems helped. This fish was hooked on the hair rig with the flavored millies, but maybe the gems did help. Maybe the gems attracted some of the fish and got them at least to come and look at the ground bait and get curious. I'm not 100% sure, but every bit helped. And here we are trying to bring this little common back to the surface, actually net him. He felt quite big, you know, once you know your gear well and you've caught a few fish, you know more or less what size of fish you're fighting. when you're on the fish. And he didn't feel too bad. He felt like a decent sized fish. The gentleman across the way helped me net him. I helped him with his catch, which was about 1 or 2 kilo fish. This one here was about 3 or 4 kilos. You'll see a picture of it now. I don't know why I get so nervous with the fish, and I try and put them back as quick as I can, and I forgot to weigh him. But yeah, that was our blank breaking weekend. Well, weekend. It was a Saturday afternoon for about 3-4 hours. Anyway, guys, please like and subscribe, comment down below, let us know what you thought. Let us know about your big catches and your blank breaking fishing trips. And one note about Funfishing, you should really go through and have a look at their fishing tackle shop. They don't sponsor me. I don't even think they know that I fish there specifically, that this channel fishes there. I don't really make a big fuss about going to any of these dams, but they're super helpful. They'll give you lots of advice. If you've got any kind of tackle questions or anything like that, speak to Renee, speak to her husband. Even John will help you there. He's normally there. He's like the bailiff, and they're super helpful, super friendly, and it's just a great day. I've had a birthday here and booked out the gazebo over there. It's just a really nice place to go if you're looking for a cool day out, something different, and something that doesn't break the bank, you know. And yeah, for $50 a person to be out on the dam all day for 12 hours, I mean, where else can you go and sit for 12 hours and it won't cost you an arm and a leg? Anyway, guys, tight lines, and until next week.